to all of you. So the main story is our effort to develop our system and try to industrialize this technology. So the title is the advance of mediator. Okay, it's too long. So main point is how we use, sorry, let me show the laser pointer. Okay, how we use the cobalt complex to control the polymerization of vinyl acetate, and how we develop the mediator from cobalt complexes and heavy metal to tropone derivative organic compounds, so that the system, the toxicity of this system and the price of this system could be largely decreased, okay, to raise the chance to industrialize this skill, this technology. And I would like to say today is a special day because in Taiwan is the Teachers' Day. So the September 28th. So here I would like to say happy Teachers' Day for all the faculty members. And I'm Peng from National Taiwan University. So before my talk, I would like to introduce where I'm from. Okay, this is the map I found from the Google map, and here is your university, and Taiwan is about the northeast side, and the National Taiwan University is at the north part of Taiwan. So if you enlarge the map of Taiwan, you can see Taipei is at here, so it's the north part of Taiwan. It's the capital of Taiwan. So I think it's a modern city. We have the skyline of Taipei 101. It was once the highest building in the world, but not now. And this is the president's office, and we have policy museum to show a lot of Chinese culture stuff. And we also have the temple. And I think it's a very fun city. So we have the shopping place and well, good nightlife. And we have beautiful natural view. And National Taiwan University is located in South Taipei, and here is our campus map. Fortunately, chemistry department is next to the lake. Okay, telling a story. Actually, in Taiwan, almost all university has a lake in it. Okay, that is to prevent the fire actually for the old time, but now it's a beautiful view. So here is the bird view of our chemistry department, and next, sorry. And next is from the human view. Okay, you stand outside of our building. We have two buildings, building A and building B. So for the short history, our university, National Taiwan University, was actually built by Japanese government known as Taihaku Imperial University. And at 1945, the university was renamed as National Taiwan University. At that time, chemistry department became part of the College of Science. In 1956, we have the Graduate Institute. Then 1966, we have PhD program. And as I just show you the two building, the 2005, the building A was accomplished, and 2009, the building B, the wing B, was completed. So currently we have roughly 600 students. Half of them are undergraduate students, and we have about 200 master students and 100 PhD students. We have 51 faculties and other staffs, technical staffs. So roughly, I think we are a medium-sized chemistry department in the worldwide. And in our department, our research was based on the traditional division as physical chemistry, inorganic chemistry, analytical chemistry, organic chemistry, and we add chemical biology as another, the fifth division in our department. So based on this research field, okay, we expand our study to the design and the synthesis and application of functional materials We also have strong background of biomedical chemistry and technology, molecular structure, and imaging recognition. Recently, we developed a new topic about sustainable energy and environmental analysis. So I think we have a quite diverse research orientation. For example, actually, this is the research in my lab. So my major research is polymer chemistry. So in the past 10 years, in our lab focus on the development of catalyst for control radical polymerization, to control the radical polymerization. And so that we can synthesize the block of polymer of different material easily. And with this capability, we use this block of polymer to prepare the functional materials, like this is quite a stretchable material, or the fluorescence polymers. And we also develop our block of polymer as a drug carrier in cancer treatment. So we use our block of polymer to wrap, to carry the cancer drug, and design a trigger mechanism so that this carrier can release the cancer drug at the desired place. I think last year or 2 years ago, we found an interesting structure in ring opening polymerization catalysis, so that now we also try to study the lens-night interaction, okay, as mentioned by in the introduction, the linear lens-night structure. We use the multiple oxygen ligand, the linear oxygen ligand, okay, as to wrap, okay, the lens-night atom, so that we can study the lens-night interaction and this interesting structure. So this our major research direction. So we need to consider our ranking. So I think our university, our department is ranked as 76 in US News World Report, and in QS World University ranking, we are at the position of 51. And considering maybe there are many students, we provide a scholarship for undergraduate student and graduate student, because there are many kind of scholarship. I cannot go through the detail, but I would like to let you know we provide more than enough scholarship for you living in Taipei. So if you have the chance, welcome to Taiwan and welcome to join us. Okay, so now back to the research. So this is an outline of my talk today. So at the beginning, I would like to introduce you the reversible deactivation radical polymerization and the polyvinyl acetate. Then the main part is our effort in the study of cobalt-mediated radical polymerization. This is mainly the result for my last 10 years. Then we developed the new catalytic system using alumina, and then jump to organic compound. So you also can see this is our effort try to industrialize this technology, because cobalt is a heavy metal element and no one like the product with heavy metal, okay? So we need to change it. We need to use the less toxic material. So that's why we have this kind of story. So if you divide the polymerization, categorize the polymerization as living polymerization and the regular polymerization, you can further categorize the regular polymerization by different factors like the processability. So I think many of you may heard the thermoplastic and thermoset, okay? And also the fibers, plastics, rubbers. So this is the categorization according to our daily use, but in the textbook, in academic, we prefer to use the mechanism. And with the mechanism, you can divide the polymerization into step growth and chain growth polymerization. In chain growth polymerization, if you don't have chain termination and chain transfer, means the chain termination and chain transfer are absent in the system, then you can define your system as a living polymerization. So what's the feature So in living polymerization, you will see the linear evolution of molecular weight with conversion. So you can see this line for the living system, the conversion and molecular weight increase linearly. You can have a narrow molecular weight distribution. Most importantly, you have the capability to synthesize the block of polymer. Okay, and the block of polymer is new materials from many big companies. So this is a figure. So in the living polymerization, according to the active center, you can further recognize them as an ionic living polymerization, living cationic polymerization, living radical polymerization, and others. We select living radical because it can live longer. I mean, the tolerance, living radical can handle, living radical polymerization need less harsh condition, means the air tolerance and the water tolerance of this system is much better. So it's easier to industrialize it. And but because the living, okay, means the termination is absent. However, for the radical, the termination is not avoidable. It certainly happens. You can just suppress it. So scientists try to rename it to describe it more accurately. So you would see the name of control radical polymerization and recently the reversible deactivation radical polymerization. This is the scientists try to define it better. But no matter how, as long as you see the living or control or reversible deactivation, they all mean the same thing. Why we use the RDRP? Because by this technique, you can control the composition of your polymeric product, you can control the topology, you can control the functionality. So here is some example. With this technique, you can grow the polymer on the metal surface so that you have the water hydrophilic polymer on your metal surface, and you can have the cell, okay, grow on it. And also you can synthesize a very rough structures by this technique so that you can get the super hydrophobic surface. All this achievement is difficult to approach by traditional organic synthesis. So if you want something at the nano level, reversible deactivation radical polymerization may be a better way. So in this field, there are three most developed methods: the nitroxide mediated polymerization, atom transfer radical polymerization, and the reversible addition fragmentation chain transfer polymerization. The nitroxide mediated polymerization is the earliest technique. Okay, they use the nitroxide species to deactivate the propagating radical and form the dormant species. So by using this equilibrium, okay, you can suppress the radical concentration. And in the radical polymerization, the radical concentration is proper to the polymerization rate, but also proper to the termination rate squared. So in that case, you can imagine if you can decrease the radical concentration 10 times, the polymerization rate decreased 10 times, but the termination rate decreased 100 times. So when you suppress the radical polymerization, you can suppress the termination rate so that make the termination can barely affect the propagation and make the whole system look like, okay, living. So this is the mechanism they use. And in ATRP, actually the mechanism is the same. Okay, they have the organic compound to deactivate radical polymerization and use this equilibrium to control the radical concentration. However, with the organometallic complexes, you can select the ligand, you can change the metal, you can switch the halogen so that you have a better way to tune the equilibrium of the system, so that ATRP was known to be suitable for more monomers. Okay. Then REFT polymerization actually use totally another mechanism. REFT polymerization use the chain transfer mechanism, so then is additional radical and attack on your chain transfer agent to kick out another radical out. With this rapid exchange process, it can make all the chain grows has the same chance to growth. So this is the most developed 3 method. And of course, there are other methods using like ours, cobalt, tellurium, iodine, etc. Okay, but most of them based on the equilibrium or the transfer mechanism. Why this method is successful? Because they are even already industrialized. So NMP is the earliest method and is already industrialized by BASF and Arkema. They have a series of product using this technology and to generate like tri-block copolymer or the block copolymer dispersants. These are all the very high value product, and this is the most advanced product in this company. And the rest, back to ATRP. So the ATRP was industrialized by Japanese company Kaneka and also United States company PPG. And the third one is RAPT. The RAPT was developed by Australian Institute and industrialized by Boron Molecular. They develop the business model differently. Okay, they sell you the RAPT agent, but don't care about what you synthesize. And the iodine and the tellurium, all of them already have the product on the market. So actually, this reversible deactivation radical polymerization is a quite mature method that's already on the market. However, I would like to emphasize all the product are based on acrylate, okay, acrylate monomer or styrene, but not vinyl acetate. Okay, so this is why my technique is special. So the cobalt-mediated radical polymerization was first developed by my PhD advisor, Dr. Whelan, using cobalt porphyrin complexes. Cobalt porphyrin complexes has the D7 low spin electron configuration, so the single electron is located on the DZ square orbital, make the whole complex like a metalloradical. So in the radical polymerization, it can deactivate radical to form the dormant species, and because the empty site, it also can mediate the radical polymerization by the chain transfer process. And the feature of cobalt-mediated radical polymerization is the remarkable capability to control the vinyl acetate. If you remember, I told you that most of the method can control the acrylate polymerization quite well, but only cobalt can control the vinyl acetate polymerization quite well. Then the polyvinyl acetate is a daily used material, and most of the situation it was used as adhesive, and it could be hydrolyzed to form the polyvinyl acetate and the vinyl alcohol copolymer, or to hydrolyze it further to get polyvinyl alcohol. These two materials are quite useful. This is a biocompatible material, and this is a hydrophilic, hydrophobic material, can be used as a surfactant. And if it copolymerizes with ethylene, you will get the EVA, okay, EVA polymer, which is more useful. And also you can obtain the polyvinyl butyrol by vinyl alcohol. So polyvinyl acetate is an important plastic product on the market. And the behavior of cobalt-mediated radical polymerization can be shown by this figure. So you can see, according to the kinetic plot, you will see a period of induction period, and then the polymerization start. This is because, according to our study, we understand when AIBN inject the radical into the solution, the radical was all trapped by cobalt-2 and convert to organocobalt-3 species, so that during this period, because all the radical was trapped, so no polymerization can be observed, and you observe only the induction period. But once all cobalt-2 was converted to the organocobalt-3 species, then the following radical will not be trapped, and it can initiate the polymerization to give you the living polyvinyl acetate. So according to the instrumental analysis, you can see the polymer has the molecular weight increased linearly with conversion and the relatively low polydispersity. And we calculate the theoretical molecular weight based on one chain per catalyst, means all the polymers have one cobalt species at the chain end. However, when we apply this technique to methyl acrylate, okay, we observe a little bit different phenomena. The same, we observe the induction period and the polymerization. However, the theoretical value calculated based on one chain per catalyst has a big deviation from experimental result. And after we study that, we understand that is because when the radical inject into the solution, okay, still they are trapped by cobalt-2. But due to the different equilibrium constant, not all cobalt-2 was converted to organocobalt-3. Only part of the cobalt-2 converted to organocobalt-3, and it reached the equilibrium. So since it's reached the equilibrium, it will not trap the radical anymore and start the polymerization. So in this case, the theoretical molecular weight should be calculated based on one organocobalt-3 per chain, okay, not all cobalt species. So by using the UV spectrum, we follow the change of cobalt-2 concentration and the cobalt-3 concentration, and we obtain at the equilibrium, the cobalt-3 concentration is about, the ratio is 1.47. And so we recalculate the theoretical molecular weight based on one chain per cobalt-3. And at this time, we found the theoretical molecular weight match the experimental value now. So why there is this difference means in vinyl acetate, all cobalt-2 converted to organocobalt-3, but in methyl acrylate, only part of the cobalt-2 converted to organocobalt-3. That's because when the monomer, okay, transfer to the radical species, they actually have different energy. So consider the equilibrium in cobalt-mediated radical polymerization. You can see the cobalt-2, okay, deactivate radical to form organocobalt-3. So in this equilibrium, you can understand if the radical has a higher energy, the equilibrium will go to the right-hand side and prefer the product of organocobalt-3. So you can see vinyl acetate radical has higher energy, so that in vinyl acetate radical polymerization, all the cobalt-2 was converted to organocobalt-3. However, with methyl acrylate, you can see its radical is more stable. So once the radical become more stable, the equilibrium go back to the left-hand side. So in methyl acrylate polymerization, the cobalt-2 and organocobalt-3 coexist and reach the equilibrium. That's why when we use different monomer, we need different catalyst. So because our equilibrium is cobalt-2 and cobalt-3 equilibrium, and it's similar to ATRP system, which has the copper-1 and the copper-2 equilibrium. So we learn from ATRP, and we learn from ATRP here, and they analyze that the redox potential of the copper complexes is proper to the equilibrium of the ATRP system, because you can see in this reaction, the whole equilibrium is include the copper-1, copper-2 equilibrium, similar to cobalt. So we propose that the cobalt-2, cobalt-3 redox potential should also be relevant to the equilibrium of CNRP. So we try to reorganize the system, and we collect the data information of different monomer, measure the equilibrium constant, and analyze the control mechanism. And we got the spectrum that we understand when the equilibrium is lower than 10 to 6, it may be 10 to 6 means this equilibrium is quite small, so the cobalt-2 cannot deactivate the radical efficiently, so that the control is not good. Once the equilibrium, equilibrium constant is between 10 to 6 to 10 to 10, that means the cobalt-2 can deactivate radical to form organocobalt-3, so that they will mediate the radical polymerization via this equilibrium process. We call it the reversible termination process. And if the equilibrium constant go higher, then you will see this cobalt carbon bond is too strong, so that it cannot self-dissociate to generate radical. So it's require an external radical to kick out the original radical by the trans effect. Okay, so now at this stage, the polymerization will be mediated by this degenerative transfer polymerization. Then we collect more data. Of course, it's thanks for my hardworking student, we obtained this figure, and you can see with method accurate polymerization, we got the linear correlation between the redox potential and the equilibrium constant. And with other monomer, we also observed a similar thing. So we believe we understand the mechanism pretty well. And then we try to challenge the how to say, which holy grail means the most difficult thing in polymerization means the composition control and the tacticity control. So why we want to control the composition? Because in, for example, EVA product, if you can change the content of vinyl acetate, you can largely change the physical property of your product. You can see they are totally different things. So we try to use cobalt, use this system to approach the control radical polymerization of copolymerization, and we use 1-octane and acrylate. And we found we can optimize the condition to get the mole ratio of 1-octane as 10%, and we got linear increased molecular weight, low polydispersity, so we can synthesize the copolymer of 1-octane with acrylate by cobalt mediated radical polymerization. And the more difficult one is the tacticity control. So traditionally, there are 3 ways to approach the tacticity control. One is use the monomer with bulky group, or use the hydrogen bond to induce the orientation, or the coordination of Lewis acid so that you give it a bulky group. So we select this one because it's more suitable to our system. So after optimization, we use the cobalt porphyrin complexes associated with the Lewis acid, lanthanide Lewis acid, and we can approach the control radical polymerization of DMA with the tacticity control approach to 94%. And previously, the highest value was published by my postdoc advisor, Professor Majeshevsky, as 86%. So we obtain a higher value. But what's the specialty, to get a higher value? So if you compare the thermal property of the polymeric product, we found if you have the tacticity control less than 86%, you obtain only amorphous polymer. So there is no crystalline behavior. However, once the tacticity increased to 88%, we found we can switch the amorphous to crystalline. And if we keep increasing the tacticity control, the crystalline behavior will also change from the cold crystalline to melting crystalline. And you can see the figure here. So the highest value we got is 94% of tacticity control. The TM approach the highest, 276, and the crystalline behavior is different. So this is a quite special thing. Then we publish it. So a short summary of cobalt mediated polymerization is it has a remarkable control in vanilla acetate and acrylic polymerization, we understand the CRP mechanism and we can approach the composition and toxicity control. However, the most important thing is how can we make it useful? Okay, means how we industrialize it. So first of all, you need to lower the price, lower the cost and the toxicity. So with the collaboration with Professor Chen Changle in China, okay, we design, okay, actually he designed, okay, this special ligand. It also a 2 oxygen, 2 nitrogen ligand, but have different substituent. So we use this ligand to coordinate with alumina, and then use this salt to remove the chloride of alumina and form this active species. And use this active species, we found it can control the vanilla acetate polymerization just like cobalt. Okay, so you can see an induction period and polymerization. The molecular weight increase linearly with conversion, and in GPC traces it moves smoothly. We study the mechanism and we understand the radical. Okay, once you get the active species, the radical will be deactivated by alumina and form a radical species, and we can observe this radical property, this 1 electron property by EPR spectrum. And then it can dissociate the radical by the chain transfer process, and we can mediate the vanilla acetate radical polymerization. Okay, so it was published on SS Macrolator. But okay, the surprise is always there. So back to this figure, you could find once my student forgot to add this salt to remove the chloride. However, even he forgot to add this salt to remove the chloride, the polymerization control is okay. So we start to think maybe the alumina center is not that important, because even it was fully coordinated, the polymerization still can be controlled. So we try to use the ligand, okay, try to use this ligand to mediate the control radical polymerization of vanilla acetate, and we surprisingly found it works. It works. You can see the induction period and polymerization occur. Linear increased molecular weight with conversion, GPC moves smoothly, and we got the black polymer. So we are quite exciting about this, because that means we can use organic compound to mediate the vanilla acetate radical polymerization. And we further analyze this structure. Okay, we discharge it and use the diamine and the tropone species to control the radical to test, okay, which functional group is critical to the radical polymerization. And we found actually the tropone is the more important substituent. And by optimize the tropone species, we actually can obtain the control radical polymerization of vanilla acetate. And we also patent this technique and hope in the future we can industrialize this technique, because the cost and the product is all approved by some commercial companies. So in the future, actually, we hope we can use the catalyst development mechanism study, kinetic measurement, and monomer design as the ground, and use different polymerization technique as our branch to eventually develop different functional materials, drug delivery system, surfactant, adhesive, or have some contribution to the green chemistry, degradable plastic to make the earth more green, to make the earth better. So at the end, I would like to thank all my group members. Without them, I cannot have this story to share with you. So they are all hardworking students. And of course, thanks for all your attention.
Okay, thank you, Professor Peng, for the very nice presentation with the result. And I would like to invite all the audience, if you want to ask something, you can raise your hand and ask directly to Professor Peng. For a while, we have a question from Dr. Adi Darmawan, Professor. So what is the character of the cobalt so that the cobalt can be used as the metal center?
Yes, actually, cobalt is indeed a very special compound, a special complex. At early time, I think about 1915, the cobalt was used, okay, for the catalytic chain transfer. This method was developed by DuPont and now transferred to, I forgot which company, I think one Japanese company. You can check, that patent was already expired. Okay, they use cobalt complexes to the chain transfer polymerization of methyl methacrylate. Mitsubishi Chemicals. The Japan company is Mitsubishi Chemicals. Okay, and that cobalt complex is the only one can approach that efficiency of chain transfer. Even now, no one can overcome it. So I think the special of the cobalt is the D7, the D7 electron configuration, but it need to associate with proper ligand, like cobalt porphyrin or cobalt stellate. But yeah, and you can see in my study, okay, I already replaced cobalt by not transition metal but alumina. So in that case, well, it can work. It can work, but I would say we are studying it, and we found the contribution is mostly from the ligand. So I think that ligand is more important than cobalt in our system. So I hope I cannot give you a suitable answer, but this is my understanding.
And I have one question, Professor. So you said that the ligand is more important rather than the cobalt as the metal center. Is there any special requirement for the type of the ligand that can be used better rather than the other ligands?
Actually, we try a lot of organic compound. It's like a screening, okay? And we only found tropone. And by the theoretical calculation, we hope to understand why the 7-member ring is that important, okay? Because it provides the resonance structure, but we are still calculating it because the simulation is not our expertise. So it spent a lot of time, and we are still learning that.
And in terms of the PDI value, so mostly many people who work with the polymerization, they want to have like the narrow as possible for the PDI value, right?
Yes.
And then if we see from your result, then you get a nice value around 1 point something, but also you end up with other polymerization run above 2 point something.
Yes.
And what is the main factor that can give that a different result between process?
Okay, I appreciate this question. So actually, I think my postdoc advisor, Krzysztof Mierzejewski, who invented ATRP, they study a lot about how to control the polymerization better. And learn from him, my understanding is during this process, you actually have two factors. Two factors are very important. One is the radical concentration, because the low radical concentration, you can slow down the termination. Okay. The second is rapid exchange. Rapid exchange. So the PDI, you can see in my case, I can make the molecular weight increase linearly with the conversion, but PDI is broad. We think it's because the kinetic. The thermodynamic give you low radical concentration, but the kinetic give you low dispersity. Means you need to make the radical exchange very fast, okay? Because each exchange means the longer chain was stopped to grow, and the shorter chain come out to grow. Okay, so the best way is the most ideal way is if the polymer go out to grow, to propagate with one monomer, and then it was deactivate and rotate to other polymer. Okay, each polymer propagate with one radical and deactivate, and then this whole process keep going. So all polymers grow together.
Okay,
that's the ideal case. So conclusively, I think it's a match between the initiation, means you generate radical, and the exchange process.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, it's very nice insight about that one, because yeah, we have a difficulties how to get a very narrow PDI, then that's still challenging, I think, for that one. Okay.
Oh, if there is a
Mhm.
chance, I would like to talk with them. Yeah.
Okay. And we have another question here, Professor, from Wisnu RV. So I have been focusing on MIP, molecularly imprinted polymers. Briefly, Pak Adi, could you show us the question, Pak Adi?
Let me check. I have been focusing on MIP.
Ya, dilayar dulu ya.
Oh yeah.
Matrix. And subsequently we need to
in the screen
remove
first.
the
I think. Can you see? Because I share the screen. There are three questions here.
No, the screen seems stuck. I still at last question. That's why I try to read the chat window.
Okay, wait a minute.
Yeah, I can read the question from the chat window.
Still number one, Pak Adi, if you can go to the number third, Pak Adi.
Yeah.
Still number one. Okay.
Yeah, because it's a different question. You just ask about because it's new question. It's number one.
Oh, okay. So here the question from Wisnu RV. I've been focusing in MIP, molecularly imprinted polymers. Briefly, he traps a template in the polymer matrix, and subsequently he need to remove the template to produce a specific cavities. The templates can be viruses, bacteria, protein, etc. If he talk about this method, since this method uses cobalt, do you think cobalt will interact the bacteria or viruses that can influence the properties?
Actually, yes. Okay. I think our cobalt complexes could react with bacteria and virus. And actually, we was once, okay, have a crazy idea. No, it's not crazy. Anyway, that's a crazy idea. We try to. I thought, okay, we can use vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is a cobalt-porphyrin structure. Okay, so I'm thinking use vitamin B12 to control the radical polymerization. But my student survey the price and tell me, Professor, the pure vitamin B12 is so expensive. It's crazy expensive. We cannot afford that. I said, all right, I'm poor. Okay, forget that. I think 1 year later, someone used vitamin B12 to control the radical polymerization, and it's published on Science. So yes, the cobalt complex has the bioactivity and also can be used in the radical polymerization.
Okay, so I think this, and this answered the question from the Vishnu, I think. And we have here Buyayu Astuti, who raises her hands. Okay, Buyayu, if you want to ask directly to Professor, directly, Buyayu, the time is yours.
Okay, hello, thank you. Pak Basit, can you hear my voice?
Yes,
because I think my internet is unstable. So Professor Peng, so I would like to say thank you very much because you are willing to be a speaker in this webinar. Actually, I
My
have
pleasure.
maybe two questions. The first, could you please mention? Maybe I missed your explanation. What is the benefit if we compare the polymer and if we compare between a polymer and metal organic polymer, what is the benefit of the metal polymer compared to a polymer only or alone? And the second one is in your presentation, also you mentioned about the use of the metal or organic metallic for food packagings. Is there any like a toxicity test, for example? And then the third one is about the properties of the polymer. You mentioned about the FV, how to say, like add the different composition of cobalt, the thermal stability will also change, right? And how about the other properties? For example, like a mechanical strength, if, for example, like if we want to use this organometallic polymer for a certain application, or maybe other properties like instead of only thermal stability, maybe mechanical strength, or probably like toxicity, or maybe about the, I don't know, another else for the properties. Maybe like that, Pak Basit. I hope that you get my point, Prof. Peng. My question.
Yes, I try my best. Okay, so first one is the metal polymer. I'm not sure what do you mean the metal polymer. So do you mean the polymer with the metal chain end?
Yeah. I mean that if we compare only polymer only without metal, and then polymer with metal, like organic,
Okay.
yeah.
If you consider the physical property, the metal chain end will not affect the physical property because it's too small. Okay, but some of my colleagues who also work in Christoph Majeshevsky's lab, they have the metal on the side chain. So the polymer have the side chain with all metal complex. That's affect the physical property seriously. Okay, because you have the metal ligand interaction, you have the coordination, you have the hydrogen bond. So depend on where you put the metal and how much you put it. Okay. And about the toxicity, no, we didn't try because we know it must be toxic. Okay. There is no need to try. That's why we work on organic compound, because heavy metal certainly cause problem. And also it has color. So you will not like all the plastic has a dark green color. No, you will not like it. Okay. So about the mechanical property, actually we didn't really try. Although we use the cobalt to synthesize the block of polymer and to test the strength. And actually, the strength change due to the block of polymer structure, not due to the metal center. But if you want to know, the metal center, in addition to the toxicity, it causes another problem. It can be comparable to raft system. Okay, raft, you have the disulfide at chain end. And during the polymerization, you actually use the disassemble of the disulfide bond, the sulfide carbon bond. In our system, is metal carbon bond. The metal carbon bond need to be active. Okay, so you can release radical and rebind it. But it's not an advantage for the material because it means unstable. So using ref agent, it causes the trouble. One of the problem is when you heat it up, okay, the ref agent will be released and it becomes the small molecule in your plastic and it causes the toxicity. So that will be the problem. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Peng, for the explanation. This is very interesting talk, actually.
Thank you.
Okay,
So,
thank you. And now we have the last question from Dr. Adi Darmawan, Professor. So you use aluminum and boron as the central atoms in the complex, and both have incomplete octets. Is there a connection between these octets imperfection and its ability to control radicals? And as well with the cobalt, right? Cobalt has a D7.
actually, I think with alumina, okay, it's obey the octet rule. Okay, in alumina, we thought about the boron. But in our lab, we are not mature enough to handle the boron complex, the boron compound. We try to discuss others, but it's not mature yet. So if we have chance, of course, I would like to prepare this boron compound, okay, with the audience, so that we can try how the boron, if the boron can control the radical polymerization and not. Because one of my colleagues synthesized the boron compound, and they indeed found some boron compound have the how to say that, sustainable radical property, means the boron radical is quite stable. Okay, but we haven't developed that part. So I'm not sure about how boron can interact with the radical, but I would like to collaborate with you, and we can try maybe.
Okay, is there a complete answer from Professor Peng for you, Pak Adi Darmawan?
Yes, it's enough. Thank you for your.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Professor Peng. Honestly, we would like to extend the discussion. However, we have a time limitation here, so we've run for 1 hour at the moment. And once again, as the part of the webinar team, we would like to extend our gratitude to you for sharing your experience, your knowledge. Hence, we have a new insight now about how to control the radical polymerization and what kind of the metal center or the ligand that can be used to do that, and to get the right process to have that better polymer PDI, etc. So we do hope also that all audience or participants can enjoy the topics and gain more knowledge for them itself. And so I would like to ask all the audience here to give a big applause to our speaker today, Professor Peng.
Thank you. It's my honor. And I hope in the future, after the panic of COVID-19, we have chance to discuss more science face-to-face, no matter in Taiwan or in Indonesia. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Peng. And also for all the audience, we would like to ask you to still join with us for the next 20th and 21, etc. Webinar series every month, so we can learn together with the interesting topics about the chemistry itself. So here, before we close our session, I would like to ask all the audience here to turn on your camera so we can have our photo session together for our documentation.
Oh, photo. That's important.
So,
okay,
we are waiting for the others to join us in photo session. So please could you like to turn on your camera?
Okay. Okay, all is done.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, and then 3, 2, 1, and 3, 2, 1. So once again, thank you very much, Professor Peng, for your time in sharing your knowledge, and for all audience, so we can learn together. Hopefully, we have a new insight and we can increase our capability in terms of understanding the chemistry, especially for the polymerization. So I'll see you on the next occasion. Keep healthy and keep the chemistry going. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, Prof.
Bye-bye.
Peng.
Thank you. Bye-bye.